Hello, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome back to my channel. So it was like 2 years ago, and I was watching a YouTube video, and this individual was raised within a Christian home. He was, raised going to church. He had a prayer life, but during college, just a lot of things kind of came at him at the same time. And I guess he was doing too much. He had one foot in the world, one foot, as it happens to a lot of people when they go to college, everyone wants to fit in. And if you're gonna fit in college, you're gonna kind of go down that slippery slope where you get more and more involved in sin. A lot of drinking, nightclubs, dating. And so the guy had that going on. But then, like, his best friend died, and he was taking on more responsibility than he should. He was like leader of a prayer group, if I remember correctly. But anyways, he was out in a public place, and he just kind of hit rock bottom out in public. Let's say it was at a DMV. I don't remember, but somewhere like that. And he just got out of line and went down and sat down on the bench and just was basically at the lowest point of his life. So he started praying. And he said, a prayer that we're not really supposed to pray, because we're supposed to, suffer well and carry our cross and never really ask God to just take our problems away. But that's what he did. He's like, I just can't go on. I'm confused. I'm living in sin, and I'm leading a prayer group. I have this problem with pornography, and I'm just at a loss. And he just was out of energy, and he was just sitting there totally rejected. And he said, Lord, you've allowed me to come to this place, and it's actually causing me to doubt my own faith and my belief in you, and that you're a good God. If all you say is true and you love me and you want the best for me, help me. I need your help. And as soon as he had said that, some Asian guy plopped down right next to him, and just let out a big sigh and put his head in his hands. And he couldn't help but notice that this guy even looked worse off than he felt. And he's looking at the guy, and then the guy looked at him with tears in his eyes. And he couldn't help but say, what's going on? And the guy, I don't want to bring you into my world of problems. And he was like, well, I'm here already. What's up? And the guy ended up sharing his problems with him. The first gentleman ended up totally forgetting about his own problems. And the guy was a Christian, but had totally left his faith. And then he started talking about his Bible study and his being a pastor, and the name of the organization and the church, and that he could come by tomorrow. They're meeting at 3, and get back into your faith. That'll work, I think, for you. And the guy started feeling much better and shook his hand and said, I'm gonna be there for sure. Thank you so much. I was at my lowest point, and I'm not going to say I was suicidal, but I think I was getting close to being suicidal. And now I see an avenue out of this. I would love to try to reunite with my faith and my belief in God and try to build that relationship again. And then the guy walked off, and he realized he felt much better. So the moral of the story is oftentimes when we hit rock bottom and we're just experiencing overwhelming pain and hardship, and it feels like it's more than we can bear, and it actually causes us to doubt our faith. A lot of times, what the good Lord will do is will send someone into your life that you can help, and it totally distracts you from your own agony and your own pain. For 28 years of being a school psychologist, that's the way I coped. Because, I really, as a school psychologist, you get the worst of the worst. Like if a kid threatened suicide, my phone would ring and I'd meet with the child, and I worked with inner city youth in Los Angeles that had family members getting killed by violent deaths regularly. And I'd have grief groups, or I'd be given the kid that was a total wild animal. And I shared in a comment the other day that my second grade teacher at a parent conference told my mother that he's a wild animal. It's like he was raised in a pack of wolves, So I would see myself in a lot of these troubled kids. I could share a lot that would kind of prove my point to you that, I had a really, really dysfunctional background. But I don't need to go into all that. I don't need to prove anything. But, I loved working with these kids that had been traumatized and had totally dysfunctional families, partly because I saw myself in them. But it's like, if you want to help people, why not help the neediest, right? It's like, if you want to find poor people to feed, why not find the ones that are the most hungry, So it worked for me for 28 years, and it worked in this gentleman's situation in the story that I told. And so I think, if you got to ask why are scapegoats put through that amount of trauma and problems and difficulty, I think it's kind of because, in the Bible you have the wheat and the tares, and it's going to separate you when you're put in that incubator or that pressure. You're gonna kind of have to, your true inclination and what you're leaning to is gonna come out. It's like making a diamond, right? Extreme pressure. So it's gonna force you to go that way towards helping people. If you don't have that heart, that good heart, it's gonna force you the other way. But the wheats and the tares grow up together, right? In the same field, side by side. And iron sharpens iron, right? That's in the Bible too. And so by the time you reach adulthood, you're like a diamond now. You've been pressurized into one way of being. You're either going to go right or you're going to go left. And so why do they call us empaths? Because we're empathetic. When we see someone hurting, we see ourselves in them and we want to help. So that's a good way of looking at it. And I think it is the truth, because we have a good God. Why would he subject us to that without a purpose? No, there's a purpose. We went through that so that we could be refined and sharpened. Iron sharpens iron, and we can become those that then do the Lord's work and then carry the light in a sinful world. Jesus said, the world hated me first. If the world hates you, remember it hated me first. So we're then capable of dealing with 9 out of 10 people hating on us, maybe 19 out of 20 people, and especially I believe we're in the end times. And if you're a believer in this time period, the Lord really is going to use you, and he's really going to need you. That was strange. Anyways, I think that's distracted me. Was that Satan taken me off my thought process. But yeah, so just believe and know that if you're a believer, you were hand selected to be here in this crucial time period where there's a spiritual war going on between flesh and blood humans and between principalities. So stuff's going on, and the Lord needs these strong warriors. And you were hand selected to be one of the Lord's strong warriors. Hit like or dislike, leave a comment, share this video. If this topic resonated with you, please consider subscribing. God bless.